Hey folks, Eonin here with a special review of the newly released EMP EDC Nymble W. Let's jump in with some basic specs on this knife. We've got an M390 bowler steeled Wharncliffe blade with a flat grind. We've got titanium scales and hardware on this knife. It's a frame lock design with a steel insert. It's riding on ceramic ball bearings, and it has EMP EDC's very well designed style deep carry clip. The basic specs on this knife as far as blade length is 2.75 inches of usable fine edge. We've got a scale length of 4.5 inches. And we've got a tip to tail overall length of 7.6 inches. The weight on my digital scale for this knife came in at 4.19 ounces. So let's talk about what I like. First, the fit and finish, the quality that you expect and that EMP EDC is known for is all here. This knife looks great. The fit and finish is great. Everything about the knife looks fantastic. The reverse tux is a great look for the knife in my opinion. It's functional. I like stone washed or black washed blades, and I like knives that not only look great but are very functional. This colorway has become one of my favorites. The knife has great ergos that we've come to expect from their knives, regardless of which position you hold it in. There's 4 different deployment methods. You can use a flipper tab, you can front flip it, you can flick it out there with your finger, spidey flick it, and then you can roll it out there with your thumb. So that's great. There's 4 methods, and the nice tuning make the knife very, very easy to deploy. No matter what you do, it fires out there really, really easily. There's 2 hand positions. You've got a rearward hand position here, which feels great. You can get all 4 of your fingers on. I have large glove-sized hands. My pinky does rest right on the back of this right here, but it feels comfortable. It's not a hot spot or anything like that. You cannot feel this clip at all in your hand. And then obviously you've got a more popular forward choil position. There's obviously a good sized choil here. There's plenty of room for your hand, regardless of where you put your finger. If you put it right in there, there's still room there. And then obviously this changes the grip in the back. So again, great ergos, 2 very usable hand positions. They offer a good grip on the knife and also jimping almost all the way up the spine. So no matter where you are, unless you're trying to get way out here on the end, you're gonna be able to get your thumb on that and it's gonna feel really, really solid in your hand. Kudos for that, definitely. Again, the knife feels great. The balance point on this knife is excellent. The balance point for this knife is right behind the pivot, right here. This knife will balance on my hand right there. That is really good. It's one of those things, I don't know if it was designed that way or it just happened to be that way, but it looks really great in your hand. Feels really great in your hand. And that is definitely a plus for me. Everybody knows I like knives that have good balance, and this one does. Again, that jimping is perfectly done. The frag pattern on the EMPs is perfect. It's not too aggressive. It's not too soft. It just feels really good in your hands. And then, like I said, jimping placed up here all the way along the spine, that's a win. So, cutting wise, right? That's the really big thing. This knife is fun to cut with. I haven't had it a super long period of time, but it's been in my pocket almost every day for some period of time. I zipped through a small mountain of cardboard with this thing already. It was really, really fun to cut with. Pretty much flawless, honestly, and it hasn't needed to be sharpened yet. Again, I didn't, cut up 300 yards of cardboard, but I broke down a pretty good sized mountain of boxes back there, sliced the big ones up into smaller ones, and the knife looks great. No wear on the blade finish as expected, and the knife is still shaveably sharp. So again, kudos for what appears to be a pretty good heat treat. That's pretty much been a hallmark of EMP's knives anyway, and they seem to have this M390 steel that they use down very well. So let's size compare for you real quick. So here is the Nymble W. Here's an original regular Nymble. That kind of gives you an idea of what the knife is. It's not super large. It's not as big as the Nymble X, but that gives you an idea next to the Nymble W what you've got, right? And then let's give you another Wharncliffe knife that would be in this same general category or classification. Here it is next to the Wee Roxy. You can see there's some similarities in size. The Nymble W feels a lot better in your hands than the Roxy does, and I am a fan of the Roxy, so that gives you an idea of how good the ergos are on this. And then finally, I'm going to show you one other knife that I think fits into this category quite nicely, and that is the Dam Designs Fenrir, also Wharncliffe, in full tie and S35 VN. And you can see that they're very similar in size, different handle ergos and shapes, but the size is very similar. So there's some comparisons for you guys to show you where this knife falls in sidewise. It's not a huge knife, it's not as big as the X, but it is feels noticeably bigger than the original Nymble. So where do I fall in on this knife? At $325, this is not an inexpensive knife, but they've been able to keep the quality, the fit and finish, and all the basic design elements from the original Nymble incorporated into this knife. They have a certain look and feel. They always have good balance. The action is always fantastic on these things, and they're just a super fun knife to carry and to use. I cannot say enough good things about this knife in the short period of time that I've been using it. So are there any issues or dislikes? Technically, I do not have any issues or dislikes about the knife. Some people might say they wished it was a little bigger, like the size of a Nymble X, but I think it's perfect. It's bigger than an original Nymble. It's more beefy in a lot of places, and this Wharncliffe blade is fantastic. In my opinion, even with the $325 price tag and having to catch these knives on a drop, and there is one coming up. There is a second drop coming up on October 22nd. If you missed out on the first Nymble W, you can pick one up then. They are sezzleable, so that is a plus. I'm one of those people who like sezzle. And there will be multiple colorways offered again. So this is not the only one. All the traditional Nymble colorways are offered on the W as well. So if you've got the money and you like Wharncliffe style blades, and or you are a fan of EMP EDC and especially the Nymble lineup, then I would definitely recommend this knife to you. Like I said, fit and finish is great. Everything on the knife looks fantastic. I personally think these knives are worth every penny that I've spent on them. This knife might be my favorite knife I've purchased this year. I will say it's right up there with the Devo Stout for probably my favorite knife that I've bought this year. And this one I haven't quite had as long as the Stout, but it's definitely right there at the top of the list, folks. So there you have it. There is my review on the EMP EDC Nymble W. It does come with a nice hard case. There is a few extras inside of here. You get a cleaning cloth, you get some stickers, you get your born on date, some things like that. Really cool presentation. I love having the case in case you ever want to do something else with the knife. But that's awesome that you get this nice hard case with it. Again, excellent presentation on the knife. So that's it, folks. That's all I've got for you today. If you like this review, think about hitting that like button down there in the corner for me. Also, think about hitting the subscribe button on my channel so you can get notified of future content. Thanks as always for watching, and stay sharp, everyone.